Hey everybody, this is Jay Lethal, also known as the Black Machismo, and I thought about calling myself the Black Nate, but nonetheless, whatever my name is, you are listening to Houston Wrestling Radio.
I'm the dashing Nigel Assington.
And this is Sir Leopold Lipstash.
And we are
the Society of Distinguished Gentlemen. And you are listening to Houston Wrestling Radio. Are we ready?
Shut the hell up if you're ready. Alright. Hello and welcome everyone to the 38th edition of Houston Wrestling Radio. This is Abel.
This is Travis.
And hey, guess what, guys? We have someone joining us here today. We have another special co-host. One of our good friends. He's actually been a good friend of mine for a while. We were just talking about this before the show. It's been about 8 years now. He is none other than our buddy Chris. Chris, say hi.
Toodles!
That's his natural voice, ladies and gentlemen.
That's his natural voice, yes. I kicked him in the nuts earlier today. So. And
So it begins.
Yeah, so it begins. He just took a drink of his Coke there right when I said that joke, and he almost spit it all over my microphone. That would
microphone if you're lucky.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, it's already going to be a spicy episode.
Strap yourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Yes, it is. Yes. Chris is the crazy one whenever we go to any of the live wrestling shows in and around town. He's always the one that we're afraid we're going to get kicked out of the arena because of him. So hopefully you can bring some of that energy here today on our podcast.
Let's see.
And we may not kick you out.
Hope not. It's nice in here.
Oh, okay.
AC.
All right. Oh, and aside from having Chris helping us out today with co-hosting duties, we also are going to finally have Max back on. We had said that we were going to talk to him, once he had found out that WWE said that they were going to go ahead and put subtitles on their DVDs. And, we just kept having scheduling conflicts after scheduling conflicts. So we finally are able to have him on the show here today so we could talk to him a little bit about, what's been going on with Wrestling with Subtitles and this new info about them WWE putting subtitles on their stuff. So I think we want to just go ahead and get to that first. Talk to him real quick, and then we'll get on to the rest of our show. So right now, guys, let's go ahead and cut to that.
Alrighty.
Alright everyone, here we are for the third time with our good friend from Wrestling with Subtitles, Max. Max, hey, thanks so much for joining us again, man.
Hey, not a problem, thanks for having me.
Kind of excited to be talking to you today because, and I know this is a little late because this kind of happened several weeks ago, but you got word back from WWE that they're going to be putting subtitles on their DVDs now. So I think that's pretty cool. I think this will probably be a little bit of a victory speech type thing we got going on here right now. Max, how did you feel when you heard that?
Well, it was kind of bittersweet. It was nice to know that, the project is a success for the two major companies, WWE and TNA. The only problem is that I found out a week later that they will not have subtitles on their pay-per-view DVDs. So, I think other than WrestleMania, they'll have subtitles on their WrestleMania DVD. But Royal Rumble or Money in the Bank, they won't have it. But for their special DVDs, like the best ofs or ECW Volume 17 that they're gonna come out with. That one will have subtitles. But I was really excited because it's been my pet project for a year. WrestlingWithSubtitles.com, which was headed up by the real WB up on Twitter. He did all of the work, wouldn't accept any money on behalf of Work Shoot Media, which is the company that he works for, and he just wouldn't allow me to pay him. So, which was kind of sad because when I got word that we had won, it was already time. He had got the website up that same week. So now I'm now I have a free blog, a free blog website that I can update and stuff. So I'm going to try and kick back something for him, at least, throw his name out whenever I can. But I got a lot of press with Scott Fishman, who writes for the Layfield Report. I had a thing on the Layfield Report from Scott Fishman. I was also in the Miami Herald online, just kind of recapping everything, and I got a big congratulations from Dolph Ziggler a couple times, so that was nice. He actually went out of his way and tweeted me, like, outside of not me tweeting at him. He said, "Hey, congrats, great work. I knew that it would come to fruition." So that's where it's at.
All right, that's pretty cool. I actually hadn't heard about the part about them not captioning pay-per-views, but they're just going to do that on like the documentaries and stuff. Do you think that because of that your work's not done, and that perhaps you'll still have to still fight maybe to get it on those parts of it on the pay-per-view DVDs?
I'm gonna see how like SummerSlam and Survivor Series goes, because I think that the big four, all of them should be subtitled, but if the big four aren't subtitled, then that's a problem. Especially with WrestleMania, I don't know if WrestleMania is going to be subtitled. But if it's not, I mean, that's a 4-hour event, and there is usually a lot of talking, except this year, which was a flop. Otherwise, they're kind of alienating. We won the battle, but the war is not over. ROH still doesn't put any subtitles on their DVD for commentary or whatnot. And so that's where I'm going to focus my attention over the summer, is trying to get ROH or DG USA, Evolve, those smaller companies to maybe either hire me in, or at least pledge that they'll start looking into it or whatnot. So WWE not putting any subtitles on their pay-per-view DVDs, sure, it's kind of sad and kind of lame, but I mean, I'll take what I can get. It took me a year to get this far, or 11 months or whatever to get this far, and I mean, we kicked a whole bunch of ass. I mean, everybody who was associated with WWF and everything. So thank you for all the support, especially Houston Wrestling Radio. You and Travis helped out quite a bit when we were starting out, or I was starting out. And, we kind of grew up together a little bit, so.
Well, yeah, you're right about that. We did kind of grow up a little bit together here with our little separate adventures, and, I appreciate your little shout out there, and, that I support your guys' cause wholeheartedly. Let me kind of go back to one other little question I had. It was revealed that TNA was going to start putting subtitles on their DVDs several months back. Have they released their first one yet that's had subtitles on it already?
I don't think TNA has released I don't think TNA has released a DVD in like a year. But I know that they do like online videos, and I saw an option for caption on their TNA website, but I don't think it worked, because I think it uses the same algorithm and same process that YouTube had a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Which is awful. So.
Yeah, that is pretty terrible. Okay, well, I guess even though that we've already kind of got several victories here and whatnot, I think there's still some work to be done. So, we're always gonna, be here to support you, man, and hopefully we'll get to see more of this whole movement kind of, grow and whatnot, and kind of fill in those kind of loose ends of the gaps here in between and stuff. But that's awesome. In the meantime, Max, it seems as though you've been doing some other things here with the other projects. You're doing the stuff there with the wrestling game, and I thought I saw that you now have your own little podcast that you're doing with the wrestling game. What's that all about, man?
For those of you who don't know, I am the server 3 manager of the WrestlingGame.com. It's a browser-based wrestling game where, you have your little character and whatnot. You can, be your, build up your skills and have a whole bunch of different moves and your finishers and your entrance music and whatever. And I've been working there for about 4 years, been playing for 6. Met a lot of cool guys there, a lot of cool people. And one of the guys did a podcast about 3 years ago, and it was really popular over in Australia, and then he stopped. He moved and, just couldn't do it anymore, and then he brought it up to me. He's like, hey, I've been playing the wrestling game for, 7 years or whatever, and, you've been playing forever and everything, so we're kind of like the old guard in the game, and a lot of people, in game, respect our wrestling opinion and everything. So they're like, yeah, go ahead and shoot up a podcast. So we started a TWG podcast, or I like to call it TWG Radio, but nobody else likes it. So we are hosted up on radioinfluence.com. Ken over there helped us set up about a month ago. They're good people. We usually record Monday night, which is Tuesday morning for Chris is his name, and because he's over in Australia. So we usually just recap Raw, and if there was a pay-per-view, we did a live show for WWE. What was the one before Payback? Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a live Extreme Rules one, which was a flop. It was terrible.
Don't admit that.
Live shows never work. But I was able to talk to. I interviewed Riley Pierce, former NXT star and Dolph Ziggler's brother. So that was a fun interview. He said that any time that he had a couple minutes, he'd chat with me, so I'm holding it to him. So.
Well, that's pretty cool. Now you're I don't think we could be friends anymore now because you're competition.
Well, you guys and then Shining Wizards and marking out and everything. We're just we're all fans here. So as long as you don't go all WCW on me and try to steal my talent.
No promises.
Travis always being the heel over there. No, we'll stay, somewhat friendly. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You know, you're my boy. All right. All right. Let's cut away from all that. I just want to kind of get, your take on what's coming up here on the pay-per-view Payback. So far, what do you, did I say Payback? Yeah, I did. Damn, I'm stupid. Money in the Bank. Sorry. So what do you think's going down with Money in the Bank so far? You think it's going to be pretty good?
I think it has the potential to be one of the best pay-per-views WWE has had since Money in the Bank 2011. I think that D-Bride is going to walk away with the belt, or not with the belt, but with the Money in the Bank for Raw. And I don't know if they're going to do a separate one for SmackDown. I'm assuming they will. But I'm assuming maybe a lot of people are saying Christian, but a lot of people are also saying that it's Barrett's time. But I'm kind of hoping that Ziggler gets it.
Well, I don't think Ziggler's going to be in the Money in the Bank match. Is he going to be challenging for the title?
I think that they might do a thing. What was it? Mark Henry a couple years ago at Elimination Chamber. He took out Kofi Kingston and took his place in the Elimination Chamber.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna happen something like that. Like Ziggler loses, but then gets sneaks his way into the Money in the Bank match.
Oh, that'd be very interesting. That's an interesting take. If that really happens, that'd be kind of bonkers, I think. Yeah. All right. Well, Max, I hate to, cut you short. We'll always chat with you, whenever we get a chance, but we have a lot of stuff to get to on our show here. So thanks so much for coming on, man. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Yeah, definitely. And real quick, Bray effing Wyatt.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, guys. So that was our interview with Max. It's good to hear from that guy. Always glad to chat with him, have him on. But yeah, man, now he has his own damn podcast. That little rascal.
He's starting his own enterprise over
Jerk.
there.
Nah. Thanks, Chris.
Y'all are thinking it. Y'all are thinking it.
Anyway, go check out his show every now and again, after you listen to ours.
But listen to ours first.
Yeah, listen to ours first, yeah.
At least the first 5 minutes. If you don't like it, then you can hear something else.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But, he's good peoples, and that's pretty cool stuff with the subtitles and WWE and, all that good stuff there. So, and, we all know that he's a big mark for Kane, but I don't know, his markiness for the Wyatt family is really starting to overshadow.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes once the Wyatt family debuts. So, all right, enough of that. Let's go on and get into the talk for our show.
How about that? It is our show, so let's talk about stuff for our show.
That? Yeah.
We're
Okay.
recording. We thought we've been talking for the last hour.
No.
Oh, you didn't tell him? Oh.
No, you're being recorded.
Oh.
Yeah, you're
I don't
Mexican.
wanna go
You
back
can't.
to jail.
You're Mexican. You can't be trusted. We got to record you. Hey, we have 2 Mexicans on the show today. You're outnumbered, Travis.
I know. Damn it.
Shut up. He's the one paying us to do this work.
See, Jefe. Ay. Okay.
Is that why I posted a video of Mexicals today?
I saw that. And,
Oh, very, very, very fitting. Yes.
yeah, that's why he did that. The Mexicals. Yeah.
Like the lawnmowers are parked outside.
I know. I saw
John
it.
Deere's, yeah.
I heard you pulling up. Yeah.
I didn't know your Scion was that small.
You get the convertible, right?
The car, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about WWE, guys. I think there was a lot to talk about from this past week and from Raw. I think the Raw before last week's Raw was better than this Raw, but I still think that there's a lot to freaking talk about. A lot of things that happened.
They definitely stepped up their game last couple weeks. Yeah.
Definitely. But
Even though the ratings have gone down.
yeah, I don't get it. It always seems like whenever WWE appeases the IWC and like everyone's like, "Oh, that was a great Raw," their ratings go down.
It's summer. Nobody's at home.
That is true. Yeah.
That's probably what it is. Like, wait till Survivor Series season starts and everybody's back in school and everybody's back in their dorms and everybody's back at home. Then the ratings will come back up if it's good.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it stays good like it has been. One of the things that's made it really good has been Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
Let's talk about D-Bry a little
Yes.
bit.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that out of your system?
See, if we had a video podcast, you'd see us doing this. With our hands.
Yeah. They can't see that either.
Yeah,
Chris.
you can see that Abel didn't have any deodorant on.
Yeah.
You had holes in your shirt.
Yeah.
And I'm pointing outward.
Yeah. And he's smelling all our armpits.
Oh,
Right.
Ring of Honor crowd probably.
Oh man, it was hot that day and that. We'll get to Ring of Honor later. Okay. Anyway, D-Bry on Raw. I'm gonna, right out of the gate, just go ahead and say, match of the week candidate, D-Bry versus Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Which I agree. That's weird coming from you though.
I know, because I shitted all over both of the other Randy Orton versus D-Bry matches. The one from SmackDown and the one from the Raw previous, because, I don't know, it felt like,
Kind of bland.
yeah, like Blandy Borton can even make D-Bry boring, which, that says something. But this match on Raw, I don't know if it was just, D-Bry stepped it up or if it was because it was a no DQ street fight kind of thing, if that's what it is, but I just thought that this match was very, very good.
I did like the no DQ aspects of it. They used that Singapore cane the way it should be used. Violently.
Yeah, there's that one spot there where D-Bry was doing his kicks to the opponent that's kneeling down, but he was doing it where he would do a kick to the chest, but then a Singapore cane to the back.
Yep.
That was so cool. It's so simple, but I've never seen it before.
Yeah, I was watching it at home and I was chanting, kick, stick, kick, stick, for like a good 15 or 20 seconds because the dude was relentless. He just kept going until the damn thing almost fell apart.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And
Well, then the end of the match too. You know.
yes. Yeah, the end where he used the Singapore cane to get more leverage on the no lock.
Yeah.
Dude, that looks sick. Like he
Is it still the no lock?
Yeah,
He's doing the yes chance now.
I think he's back to the yes.
Back to the
He's
yes
wearing his
lock.
old T-shirt, the yes shirt. Yeah.
So is it back to the yes lock?
Yes.
Why not?
Okay, whatever.
Breaking news. We found out it's the yes lock.
According to us, it's
According
the
to
yes
us. And if you don't like it, get in line with everybody else.
It'll be known a couple months again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll switch it around. Eventually, it'll be the maybe.
Or it'll be the conflicted or something.
The conflicted lock.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be maybe. Yeah.
The
Yes,
maybe
yeah.
lock. Maybe is easier to put on the back of a t-shirt than conflicted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
I knew that was coming. That's why I didn't say anything.
All right. Anything else that you want to add about that match, aside from the fact that, I'm saying match of the week candidate. Any objections or anything?
No, it was a good return match to make up for their previous attempts. So.
Okay. You know, D-Bry was all over that show.
Yeah.
How many segments was he in?
Opening segment with the match with Orton. Backstage segment when he was with
Vicky?
With Vicky. And then I guess I don't know if you want to count the app voting as segments because that's actually getting his face out there. Like, hey, by the way, Daniel Bryan later. Hey, by the way, Daniel Bryan later. Hey,
Yeah.
vote. So, and then the match had 2 commercial breaks, I think.
Yeah, it did. It did.
And it went over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the other cool thing about that match is that it was the main event, and D-Bry got the submission win over one of their top tier guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know.
And on top of that,
was-
I don't know if you guys noticed it, but it kind of protected Orton a little because number 1, Orton kept up through the entire thing. He got
Yes.
a lot of offense in too. Number 2, he was in the no lock for a good yes lock, the maybe lock for a good 15-20 seconds and didn't tap. And then when Bryan got the kendo stick, that's when he tapped. So that
Yeah,
kind of
it wasn't-
protected him a little.
Yeah, because who wouldn't tap after, you know, getting the kendo stick or cane, whatever you want to call it, you know, after he was twerking back with that, getting extra leverage.
Torque
yeah.
against your face.
Yeah. You're right. It kind of does protect him because, I mean, who wouldn't tap to that, you know? So, I'm not all for protecting Orton, but what the hell, why not? But I think the thing that's more notable here is that it's just a very high profile win for D-Bry, and I wonder because a lot of people all over Twitter and the internet and whatnot were saying afterwards and all day today that this might be indicative of how far WWE wants to go with D-Bry. You know, this might be the beginning. Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll find out if he gets a non-title win over Cena.
That's true. He's fighting Cena next week on Raw.
Oh, is he? I don't know.
The hell if I know.
Is he? Oh, okay. Well, the way you said that made me think that he was. and I
No.
thought
I'm just saying, if
something
you
like
wanted to, see how far they're going to go with him, give him some kind of win over Cena. That'll show you.
Yeah, that'll be interesting if they'll do that. Who knows? But let's kind of use that to kind of transition into something else here. Do you think D-Bry might walk out with the Money in the Bank briefcase now that we know who the competitors are for the Money in the Bank match?
We want to talk about the Money in the Bank right now?
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it.
All right.
And
Who are the participants?
D-Bry, Punk, Sheamus, Christian, RVD. I'm missing somebody.
Kane
Kane.
Kane is in there? Is he?
Yeah, Kane
and Orton.
and Orton.
7.
There you go. 7. That's 7 of them.
Okay, first of all, that's an odd number.
Gracias.
Are we still missing? Is that everything?
So far it's 7. So far
Okay.
we're up to 7, and I
That's
remember counting that because I'm kind of thinking maybe something along the same lines of what you're thinking.
Okay. Chris, what are your thoughts on the participants?
I know you guys noticed before when we were talking about it before the show. You guys noticed that there were only 7 positions. I brought up the fact that they're all faces as of right now. Orton hasn't done any kind of turn yet, even though it looks like something might happen. But it kind of worries me a little bit because WWE, they have a history of predictive booking, I guess.
Yeah.
Like if there's all faces in a match, depending on who you think would win, would kind of predetermine who would be the champion later on. So like if it's all faces that are in this ladder match, chances are Cena might not be the one having the belt. It would probably be Henry. so Henry could have a feud with one of these faces. Unless the whole Daniel Bryan thing, because Daniel Bryan is probably might be the over guy right now. Like everybody likes him, and we've seen it in WWE TNA where there's been the opportunity for somebody to get that spot, and they're just too scared to pull the trigger, and then by the time they pull it, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think they want to risk it this time. I'm confident Bryan's winning it, and they're going straight to SummerSlam.
I think Bryan's going to win it too, but I don't think he's going to go straight to SummerSlam, like you say, and like cash it in. I think he's going to hold on to it for a little while. Probably not as long as Ziggler has, but I think they're going to leave it on him because of what you're saying, that it's all faces. I don't think just because you get the Money in the Bank, they're going to automatically feud with whoever has the title. So I think they'll let Cena have his run. He's going to beat Mark Henry, as much as that pisses me off to say that, because I love Henry. But he's gonna beat Henry. Cena's gonna keep the title, but D-Bray's gonna walk around with the briefcase and just have the briefcase for 4 to 6 months.
I hope not. Not that long.
I don't hope so either, because we've seen that already.
Yeah.
Bryan's already done that before.
Yeah.
And he didn't have the momentum that he has now. Like, he didn't get this kind of momentum until when he lost the title in the first place. That's when
at WrestleMania.
At WrestleMania Miami, that's when the Yes chant started blowing up, and that's when the next night Cena called out Bryan when he was giving his defeat speech.
Yeah.
So and that momentum's carried on ever since. He didn't have that momentum when he had the briefcase the first time. Hell, he didn't even have it when he won the title.
Yeah.
So the fact that with all that, I don't think they're going to wait that long. If not SummerSlam, maybe the pay-per-view after that, because if the Henry Cena match is good, there might be a rematch, especially at SummerSlam, a high-profile match. But other than that, once the Henry stuff's done, I think Bryan's next.
Do we have any backups on who could be a dark horse in the Money in the Bank match?
Well, this I'm going to interject here.
Okay.
And say this is what I'm going to think. I don't think this is.
No one wants to know what you think, Travis.
Shut your face. Okay.
Nah.
I don't think this is the actual list of participants.
Okay.
You've already said it's all faces. That right there, it's something's up with that. Secondly, there's only 7. So there's someone missing, or something's going to change with that. Mm-hmm. Third is the fact that the way it was announced, with Stephanie coming out, kind of randomly, okay, I'll do it for you. I'll announce the names for you. And she just went to the ramp and she kind of threw all the names like that. With the McMahon storyline going on right now,
something's up.
I see Vince or Triple H coming in saying, well, I don't like this guy being in Money in the Bank. Let's put this guy in the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think this list of participants is going to be who's going to be going into that match. Case in point, CM Punk.
Okay.
I don't see him in the Money in the Bank match. I see him getting taken out and fighting Brock.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. And, like Max was saying, maybe Ziggler could wind up getting stuck in there somehow.
I thought it was kind of weird that Sheamus was in this one. I thought he'd be in a SmackDown.
Well, that brings up a point that I wanted to bring up.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
It was on, and I noticed this when they first said it, that the way Stephanie worded it, she kept saying the Money in the Bank match. She didn't say one of or a Money in the
Did
Bank.
she? I thought she did.
She said
No, he's
the.
right. She said
She said the Money in the Bank match.
Okay.
So that kind of concerned me. And then on WWE.com today, they started referring to this as the All-Star, quote unquote, Money in the Bank match. So they haven't come out and said that this is the only Money in the Bank match at the pay-per-view, but so far all signs are pointing to that. And that's kind of disappointing because so far the people that are in this Money in the Bank match are all high-profile people.
Right.
And traditionally, Money in the Bank has always been for like the mid-card guys, the guys that are on their way up, the people that can break the glass ceiling by getting the Money in the Bank briefcase. And that element's not here with this match.
They're finally that RVD guy. He's been coming up the ranks lately. I think he's gonna break through. He's gonna take it this year.
Yeah, well, RVD, he gets high on the card.
Rest to blow smoke.
Yes, he does. So, unless they're kind of BSing or whatever, and they are going to have a second Money in the Bank, match, maybe one for the SmackDown title, the World Heavyweight title, and then have like some of the more mid-carders on there, then I'll be okay with it. But if this is the only one, and it's the All-Stars or whatever, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm down with that. I think it was like, was it 2 or 3 years ago that there was a Money in the Bank or pay-per-view that was like that, where the Raw one had like all these people that probably didn't really need to be in the Money in the Bank, and then the SmackDown one was the one with all the high-flying athletic guys, mid-carders and all that. Yeah. I hope that happens, but I don't know.
It kind of worries me either way, because on one side, 2 Money in the Bank matches I think is a lot. Having 2 briefcases out there, because it hamstrings the booking that one of them has to be cashed in very soon and the other one's delayed.
Yes.
But then on the other point, mentioning that the one, if this is the only Money in the Bank match they have, they're all faces. What's the rest of the pay-per-view going to look like? If all the faces are already in one match, what else, besides Cena and Henry, we're going to get to Ryback and Jericho later, and Ziggler Del Rio. Yeah. Like, what else is left? I mean, what kind of matches are we going to have to where, how good could they be compared to if we had 1 or 2 of the high-profile guys from Money in the Bank actually working one-on-one matches to build up the card underneath as opposed to just waiting for the match.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the Money in the Bank, to me, is in the same status as like, oh, we can try out good matches for the Royal Rumble because the Royal Rumble match is going to sell the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and the Royal Rumble match is an hour and a half long.
Yeah, I don't see one Money in the Bank match selling the pay-per-view to the point where the rest of the card can be kind of like not as good as it could be.
It's not on its own yet, right?
It's not on its own yet.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome points there. As far as the feuding and what you're gonna do, like for case in point, Sheamus has been feuding with Rhodes Scholars. You know, he's in the Money in the Bank match. So
so what's gonna happen with the Rhodes Scholars?
You know, the kickoff, the pay-per-view, they're gonna.
I guess who?
They're gonna fight each other. I don't know. Okay.
Winner gets the 8 spot.
Don't say that'll probably happen.
I called it.
Okay, so we do have Orton and Debray both in there. They've been kind of going at it, so maybe Orton will turn sometime before the pay-per-view.
And I mean, you got Kane involved in there too to muddy up the waters there between those 3.
Yeah. The only dark horse, like you said, would be RVD.
That's what I was trying to get at.
I don't think he's going to win it because normally when they have a big profile return, they don't actually win. You know, they just kind of they're there for just to get people to buy it. You know.
Yeah.
But if there's a backup to who you think might win, I mean, aside from Debray, which everyone's thinking is Debray, right. I mean, who else could it be? I mean, I don't see Punk winning it, and you know, you brought up the point about Punk will probably not even be in the match to fight Lesnar. Everyone else on there, I can't really see winning except for maybe RVD.
The other thing that I would probably say was probably be Christian because the whole one more match gimmick.
He didn't mention that.
And then on top of that gimmick never really finished because he left injured. So that was still upended. So we still haven't gotten a resolution to that.
He mentioned it.
On SmackDown?
I think so. It was on SmackDown.
Yeah, he said it. I still need my one more
match.
That was
when Shield came out.
And I thought we were going to have a heel turn from him, you know, have him start being that heel and pick up that same character again. But then, Shield attacked him for no reason, really.
Yeah. That's what they do.
That's what they do. Okay. We mentioned this a little bit here in that, so let's bring up CM Punk about, you know, what happened on Raw where he was talking to Heyman, which, by the way, both of those little speeches, the one that Punk gave and the one that Heyman gave, they were freaking masterful.
Yes.
That was some good effing TV right there.
Almost perfect.
Why do you say almost, sir?
There might have been a few moments where Heyman was being a little redundant with what was already said, and there were times where I felt that it kind of dragged. But when Heyman came back to the point where back in the day they were pointing at Heyman to drop him, and Heyman didn't, and he brought it back to Punk, that's when the whole thing came back to me, where I got my attention back again. But there were some times, if you were to watch it again, some of the stuff kind of got a little repetitive from Heyman's side. But, man, the whole promo, especially Punk,
yeah.
I would probably think that's one of his best promos he's ever done in the company. Like, I watched it twice. I had to watch it again on YouTube because I just had to pay attention to it. He walked in the ring, chest out, assertive. Paul Heyman's a douche. I'm going to beat the shit out of him. The promo goes on. Heyman starts yapping, and you can see Punk almost age in the ring. Like, he went from tall and stout to he starts slumping his shoulders. He starts leaning forward a little. He starts feeling bad. He starts second guessing to the point where the end result was he's sorry he doubted him. Like, the way he sold the entire interview, the whole segment, That was probably some of the best stuff emotionally from Punk. Like
absolutely.
He told a story he told more of a story when he wasn't talking than he was when he did the whole flashback of why the relationship exists, which solidifies the fact that if Heyman turns on him or if Lesnar's rogue, that's just going to add that much more drama to the Punk character and make him more likable as a face, as opposed to, I'm just a badass, best in the world, I look like Wolverine, whatever, like me because of that. You know?
Well put, Chris.
Yeah.
Well put. Here's one thing that kind of made me laugh. Towards the end of that, when Punk kind of, let his guard down, or as you said, aged a little in the ring, towards the end there, when he went to go hug Heyman, I saw on his face, like, a little bit of, I'm believing you because I should, because of all the stuff that we've been through, but I don't really believe you, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I also felt like, on the flip side, this is something that made me laugh, was, what if that's just the end of the storyline right there? Like, okay, I forgive you, Paul. Hug, end of storyline.
I kind of wanted
How ridiculous would that have been?
I kind of wanted to see, like, the camera flip around and see what Paul Heyman's face looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Like, did he have a little devious smile on his face, or was he,
Or if he would have winked at the camera.
Yeah, something. Yeah. We got him.
Next week, kids. Next week.
Yeah.
No, well, that might have been a little bit too much if he had done that, but I understand what you mean.
But, yeah, that whole thing, man, I could just, I just kind of escaped for a minute. Their performances were so good. I just found myself just, like, caught in that whole, storyline, It's just, the way they pulled it off was just perfect.
So what do you think about the end of his match with Cena? I mean, with Darren Young.
Was that a Freudian slip there, sir?
Yes, a little bit. When Curtis Axel and Heyman came out to save Punk from the Primetime Players.
First of all, before that, I want to say, the hell did he tap out before he even got the damn submission move on? You see that?
That's smart. If you know that shit's gonna hurt, I'm not gonna try to fight it. I'm gonna quit before he even locks the shit. It's done. I'm gonna cash my check. I'm getting some beer. I'm getting laid. I'm going home. Fuck this place. No.
I'm still getting paid, right? Okay, tap, tap, tap.
Okay, well, other than moving on from that, I didn't have a problem with it.
Okay.
Like Paul Heyman said, like, what, business aside, I'm your friend. If I see my friend in the street getting his ass kicked, I'm gonna go help him,
Yeah.
I can't fight, so I got my I got my other dude to help you. What's wrong with that?
He's got a big stomach. He can try. Just like sumo hit him with the belly or whatever,
Like a walrus, right?
Yeah. Curtis Axel, I mean, I see where it's going, like making him comfortable for Punk.
Yeah, like he didn't need his help,
Yeah, it just threw me off a bit that out of all, like, that was the one surprise for me, like the what the fuck moment. Like Curtis Axel of all people came out when Heyman could have at least like walked in the ring and like try to do something.
No,
like,
honestly, what was Heyman gonna do against Titus O'Neil?
Don't you want to see him get hit and fall on his ass and bounce a couple of times on the ring, as he rolls out like the walrus he is? You want to see that? Come on, at least it would further sell Heyman like tricking him. Like,
can it be a slip and slide at least?
Maybe. These primetime players could have brought enough hair gel. They could have just
there you go.
Or whatever it is they put in there.
Yeah, that's racist. That's why it's funny. Okay. Alright, so where is this going with Punk and Heyman and Curtis Axel?
I would like it for it to literally be what it is. Like, they're friends, but business-wise, they can't stand each other, whatever. He's still gonna be a Paul Heyman guy, but that's it. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be the whole Heyman really did, sick Lesnar on him, and he is really trying to get back at him for whatever reason. But that's where I think it's going.
Okay, and then he might get taken out of the Money in the Bank match, and then it'll be him versus Lesnar. Yeah.
Question I got for you guys.
Okay.
Would you more likely want to watch a storyline where Paul Heyman is actually the dick and stabs Punk in the back and leads to all this? Or would you rather see a Brock Lesnar without control, doing it on his own? A Lesnar under Paul Heyman's control is one thing, but a Brock Lesnar on his own, animalistic.
I'd rather see the second one there. The Lesnar animalistic, out of control. If he doesn't pick up a mic and try to cut a promo.
He doesn't need to. He doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to. If he does,
proved it last week. All he did was pick up the mic, and I was knowing what kind of train wreck promos Brock Lesnar gives, especially now. Like, I was curious to hear what kind of train wreck was going to happen next. And then when he dropped the mic and laid out Punk, it was even better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And even now, watching the promo, like, I want to see what, like, you can kind of see, we were watching wrestling long enough, we can kind of see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, you can pretty much tell that it might be Heyman just screwing him over.
Right.
But the possibility that if it's Lesnar going rogue, like, if Lesnar comes out in the next Raw or two and FUs or F5s, Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That would add so much more. That would add another dimension to the whole feud. You know, it would be like the Paul Heyman CM Punk buddy flick, like the monster's gotten loose, and now I need the little engine that could to beat him.
Yes.
Rather than let me just sit.
That would be a good twist on it. Yeah.
And another byproduct of that is that means that we're gonna have a face Heyman. That would be really cool, wouldn't you think?
It would be
a
different.
Face Heyman?
He can start coming out to ECW music again. Because that instantly makes you face.
Yeah. I mean, if you thought he was good at justifying, like, the bad things that happen, you know, with his promos, can you imagine how his promos would be if he would justify stuff that's actually justifiable?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Where he's actually, I agree with that guy. Like, he could get everybody fired up.
I think it's just putting the fans' perspective on it. Because there's a lot of times where Heyman's the heel, but the stuff he says makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except you're not supposed to make sense because you're the dick, you're the bad guy, you're supposed to be the bad guy, people are supposed to boo you. But if you put Heyman in a situation where he's the victim, he could say the same things he's been saying for the past forever, but since the perception's changed that he's the victim because Lesnar's gone rogue, his delivery, nothing would change except the fact the perception would make him a good guy.
Yeah.
Or at least somewhere stuck in the middle. Where the pulling of Lesnar and Punk would draw where he would end up going.
Now, to take this one step further and probably cross the line here of what could be good, if that were to happen, well, then that would mean maybe Curtis Axel would be face. And maybe Curtis Axel and CM Punk would be a tag team. And then Curtis Axel could get the rub from Punk. And then next thing you know, hey, a new star is born.
Yeah, you can get the little napkins over there and get up all the sperm you just jacked off on. Because that's not going to happen. The fuck?
Abel, what did I tell you about that?
Sorry.
He warned us.
Yeah,
He warned us that this was going to cross the line of good, and it obviously did because that wasn't good. It made a mess. You know, you're out of tissue, and Curtis Axel's now a good guy, which it's not going to work.
Abel, you're fired.
Clean up aisle 4.
Welcome to Houston Wrestling Radio. With Travis and Chris. He only pays one Mexican instead of two.
There you go. Yeah, it's a win-win situation.
Yes. No more pesos.
Well, getting back here to the story here. There's one thing that Heyman did say during that promo. He says, "I will never represent someone against you." You know, that could be something that leads into the fact that Heyman is telling the truth, and we won't see that, or that's even more of a dickish move. Now that he actually said that, and he's gonna, if he is gonna like turn on him, if he is gonna represent Lesnar, that's gonna make it even, more of a dick.
Another lie.
Yeah.
Another layer of the deception in there.
Yeah. But Heyman is so good at his promos, it could go either way, literally. Yeah. And it would be good either way.
And having him set up in the middle, because if he's not walking out with Lesnar, he's not going to walk out with anybody going against Punk. That does leave the door open to where if Lesnar wants to go on his own, where it kind of divides Heyman, like he's an island unto himself. Like he's already done enough to Punk that Punk doesn't trust him. He's already done enough to Lesnar that Lesnar's going to eat him alive, and he's just there in the middle.
And for Lesnar, Heyman did say that his contractual obligations were fulfilled at last pay-per-view. I had no idea. Again, is it Heyman saying the truth, or is it, is he just bullshitting?
That's the part that makes you want to watch the next segment.
And that's why Heyman's so fucking good.
Yeah.
He can do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, now we spent an hour and a half talking about Heyman and Punk. What else do we want to... Is there anything else we want to talk about?
No, nothing else. That's it.
The last drop there at the corner of the table. Pick that up. Yeah. Because if we start sprouting little mini tables in the corner, then we don't have the room for that place.
All right. Now, we do have other stuff to talk about. All right. One thing that you wanted to bring up here, Chris, was Khali versus Ryback.
Bring up, eh? Yeah. Bring up.
Yeah.
There was a little kid in me that wanted to make this a match of the week candidate. Khali, but I'm not. It's obvious, Brian. That's my pick. It doesn't matter. That was 4 minutes of really good, compelling storytelling for me. You know,
Okay.
Kali got in a lot of offense. Ryback sold it like $1 million. Kali was actually moving. Like, he didn't look like an action figure, just like stiffing around. He looked comfortable in there. I saw some legit chemistry between those two. And then the way Ryback just pulled that finish out of nowhere and then like did the second turn before he dropped him. There's like squash matches, and then there's squash matches that make the guy you're beating look good. And Kali looked really good in that match.
Yeah.
And it actually made him look even better because the only offense that Ryback really got on him, aside from maybe a couple of thrusts in the corner with the shoulder, was the finisher. You know?
Okay. I'll have to take your word for it because
You fast forwarded.
I did.
Penis.
I got, I got home late and I was like, okay, well, I got a little bit of fast forward juice, and that was one of the ones that I just fast forwarded right on
He's
through.
got a live tweet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He has to be in the bathroom, like, getting the Miz and,
Yeah.
trending.
Oh, so you watched it live and you didn't fast forward?
This ain't about me.
Oh, it ain't about you?
For once, I was watching the show, and I wasn't watching it using a DVR, so I had to watch it.
You were
But
live.
okay, if you weren't, and if you did have fast forward juice, would you? If you
You know what? That's a good question.
If you
I
saw,
probably would have.
yeah, if you saw,
And you would have missed
Kali-
all that stuff.
I would have missed all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Maybe I need to go back and rewatch that because, you say that there's a little bit there to it, and I trust your judgment when it comes to wrestling. So, yeah. Well,
Man, his head just like blew up like
I know. Like, my nipples
only
were all hard.
only wrestling, nothing else. You know, you're a loser in other aspects. So,
All right.
you know.
All right. Now you make more sense. Now you brought me back down to earth.
Right.
his head just floated again.
Like Triple H will just build you up to bury
I'm
you.
gonna squash him.
I don't like that guy.
All right. Do you think that Ryback, being a heel, could be one of the guys that gets somehow finagled his way into the Money in the Bank match?
When is that match? Is it him and Jericho at the pay-per-view, right?
Yep, it's him versus Jericho.
So you think that's...
I don't know. I mean, that could happen, but then again, it was just kind of thrown together there, just kind of out of nowhere.
I'm glad it was. I was worried because when he had the backstage interview that he wanted a triple threat match, and we saw how the Del Rio Ziggler match ended with Jericho, and they've already got history brewing from the last SmackDown episode. I was like, oh no, we're not going to get 2 triple threat matches for the belt.
Yeah.
I was like, man, no, I don't want to see that. And as soon as Vicky opened her mouth and put the two together in the match of their own, I was better off.
Yeah.
So you liked him having the fight?
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
They have good chemistry. They've wrestled before on a couple of SmackDown episodes or once or twice.
Jericho-
You might have fast forwarded through that too, jerk.
No, well,
But-
Jericho invented chemistry, so he'll have chemistry with anybody, So, I don't mind the idea of a Jericho Ryback match, but the part that kind of irked me about it was that it was just randomly thrown together.
Yeah.
There's not really a reason to, other than the fact that they both happen to be standing in front of Vicky and arguing about something with Vicky at the same time. It's like, well, hold on a minute, players. You're gonna have a singles match.
So let me bring this to you then.
Okay.
If you guys are thinking of the idea that Ryback is going to take out one of the guys from the Money in the Bank for him to replace, who would you have him take out?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Kane or Christian?
Assuming that Lesnar's not already going to do it to Punk. If you guys think Lesnar's going to do it to Punk, like which spot to not sacrifice a storyline would you have Ryback take out for him to fill the void? If that's the route you guys are going, if you don't think that Ryback's gonna, or like if there isn't a stipulation made in the next couple of weeks that the winner of Ryback Jericho gets spot number 8, if there's not a spot number 8, then who would you sacrifice so Ryback can be in the match?
Well, go ahead, Charles.
I'm gonna say Christian.
Okay, why?
It's called the All-Star Money in the Bank, and we all love Christian.
Yeah.
I think that the IWC loves Christian, but I think as a whole, I don't think he's on the level of Sheamus, as Punk, even RVD, Orton, Kane. I don't think he's there.
Yeah, he needs some time to be built.
He's been gone for a year. He's been gone for a
I
year.
disagree. There's half of the guys on that list that isn't on the level of Christian. This isn't just a regular six-pack challenge or an elimination match. This is a ladder match. How many ladder matches have we seen Christian in his career in the WWE, as opposed to Kane, as opposed to Sheamus, as opposed to Orton?
Yeah,
For that kind of match, I would rather see Christian than Sheamus. I would rather see Christian than Orton. I would rather see... Kane's been in a couple. He's been in the first one. He was in the first one in LA. Yeah. That being said, I would rather see Christian than Kane. And on top of that, Ryback Kane, I don't know if they've wrestled once or twice on television before, but that would be a good program for them to have. Especially if Orton and Daniel Bryan are still going to be doing their thing.
That makes sense. I want to give my pick.
Okay, go ahead. Jeez.
As long as it's not the Miz, because he's not in it.
No.
Don't get him started on that.
Oh, shit.
My pick's Sheamus. And I don't think it's Ryback who takes Sheamus out. I would think it would be the Rhodes Scholars that takes Sheamus out. And then Sheamus wants to, get some retribution and have a match with the Rhodes Scholars or something like that, or against Sandow or something along those lines.
How would Rhodes Scholars take him out of a whole pay-per-view match?
I don't know, maybe just injure him or something, a kayfabe injury or something so he misses it, and then... Yeah, but then how would he have another match at the pay-per-view with them? That's a good point. Okay, fuck it, I don't know.
They could have their own 1-800-SCHOLAR number, and that would lead to a match at SummerSlam.
At this time...
Would you like some intelligence? Call this number. Pinky out.
I finally did catch that damn 1-800 fella.
This last one was freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
The old lady trying to give it up. Oh,
yeah,
God.
the cat in the tree and whatnot.
The older the fruit, the sweeter the juice.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Where are they going with this?
I don't know. Who knows? It's probably them just jacking around.
I think WWE finally caught on that it's kind of an oxymoron to have Sheamus a part of the Be a Star campaign against bullying when he's bullying the Rhodes Scholars, because that's pretty much what he's been doing.
Yeah.
And I think the 1-800 fella thing is something to focus our attention on that, as opposed to focusing on Sheamus being...
Well, I don't know. If you listened to our show last week, Chris, I did mention that he was still being a bully in the first promo. In order to...
I must have fast-forwarded that.
But you listened to it though, right?
Enough.
Okay, good enough. Good enough for me. As long as it counts as a hit.
Your podcast takes up storage space on my iPhone.
Okay, thank you. That's good enough for me, yeah.
I don't publicly admit I hear it.
Oh, okay. Well, so next year, whenever we get to the show, I said that the guy in the commercial, he's choking and Sheamus goes around and kicks him, does a bro kick on the guy, he knocks him out, and then he continues the date with the guy's girlfriend.
Is it because of the bro kick or because of the eat with the girlfriend?
I don't know.
Because if Sheamus' finisher was the camel clutch, then that's a better Heimlich. It'd make more sense. But I think you're just mad that he just kicked the innocent guy in the back so he can spit food out so he can get laid with the girl. That's probably it.
Is that not kind of bullying around, I guess? Getting the guy, taking...
Not necessarily. He saved the dude from choking.
And then took a spot in the dinner table with his girlfriend or his wife or whoever that was.
Would you want to keep eating after you just choked to death?
Well, I wouldn't want some other dude sitting with my wife or my girlfriend.
I mean, after you're done choking, eventually later that night you want to get laid.
And we're done.
Oh, man. You were not convinced at all when you said that. Like there was you were not punk at all.
No,
I
wasn't.
Like, you were Blandy Blorton
or
whatever you call it. That was a train wreck, bro. No.
That's
which explains a lot, If
I know.
If you know.
I work with this guy every week. I know. Yeah.
Screw you guys.
8 years. I got 8 years.
Yeah.
On him. So,
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so enough about who we want out and in of the Money in the Bank match. Let's talk about someone who I thought was going to be in it, but apparently not. Jericho. He's going to be having that match with, what's his face? Ryback. But he also had a match on Raw that was pretty good that I want to say is another match of the week candidate, versus Del Rio.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I thought that was a solid match. It was damn good. The only complaint that I could have about it is the finish. And yeah, I understand sometimes we gotta have DQ finishes and things like that, especially on free TV. But it was such a good match that it was kind of a shame that it ended the way it did, When sometimes I feel like when a match is just so good, just let them have like a traditional ending, just for the sake of the good match. But I know that can't always happen because they have writers and storylines that they gotta juggle and deal with. But anyway, I still think it was a badass match. What do you guys think?
No surprise, you guys have had Del Rio in your match of the week ever since damn near this podcast started. Shit.
This guy over here.
And I don't blame you. This match was good.
Yeah.
I mean, the heel Del Rio is leaps and bounds better than the face Del Rio. I don't think the face Del Rio was connecting too well with the audience. Even down south with the audiences that they were playing with down south, it wasn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
The heel Del Rio, that match just looked like a straight up AAA lucha wrestling match. Like the Mexican wrestlers, it's a lot of emotions, it's a lot of rolling, it's a lot of counters, it's a lot of technical stuff. And Del Rio's emotions, the smiling after Jericho kicked out at 2, and then him being frustrated, and then the next second he starts smiling again. His movements, he had some where he does the running on the turnbuckle.
Yeah.
Where he hit the top turnbuckle, he did that as a face. A lot of times he did it as a heel, but he did it as a face sometimes. But the way he hit it on Jericho while he was already sitting down on the corner,
Oh yeah.
and it just looked brutal.
Yeah,
Like, there's
was-
a lot of things that Del Rio does a lot better and comes off a lot better as a heel, and it just showed on the match last night.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because I do agree with you now. But before Del Rio had this face turn over this last year, when he first turned face, I said that it seemed to me as though he picked up his game with the face turn, and that he kind of got a little bit more energetic, once he turned face. Now that he turned heel again, I think he's kept some of that energy, but also added some heelish viciousness. So I think his heel run before, last year, before this past face turn, he was starting to get stale. The face turn improved him, but I think this heel turn, in ring wise, has improved him more.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah. I agree. I'm agree with you.
Okay, well.
Travis.
I got nothing. No.
Is it because he's Mexican, Travis?
A little bit, yeah. No,
Yeah.
You
We start talking.
You don't want to pay a third guy, huh?
yeah, no, really,
Yeah,
really.
we start talking about lucha and it goes all over your head.
Cheapskate.
Yeah.
Yeah, well. No, we were saying that when he turned face the first time,
Yeah.
He was getting stale, and when he did turn face, maybe it was because he was fighting Big Show, but he was like getting more aggressive with him, he's doing more things. But then after a while as a face, he was still kind of, it got stale after a while.
There was a lull there. He's
Yeah,
starting to
yeah.
go back down.
And first of all, getting back to the face turn in the first place, it didn't make sense character-wise for him to turn face. Because he was still the aristocrat, had a lot of money, and then all of a sudden he likes everybody. He doesn't care about money anymore. That didn't make any sense. I don't know. And then now,
Do you guys even remember how the face turn happened? Or have you guys already forgotten?
Oh, geez, how the hell did it happen?
he ran over Santa Claus.
Which was weird because that happened.
That was after his face turn.
That happened
Yeah.
That was like
after
the
his
same-
first
that was-
face turn. Like 2 weeks later, he's the dick, and then the next week after the taping's over, he's back to...
Yeah, because that was recorded beforehand, before they had the face turn. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, let's just run with it.
So you guys already forgot how he turned face in the first place.
Remind me, I can't remember.
3MB talking smack to the Mexican announcers.
That's right.
Ricardo comes out to
Yeah.
try to help him out, and they beat up on Ricardo. So then Del Rio comes out and handles ass, and that's how he suddenly stood up for somebody. As opposed
And that was
to,
when Miz turned face too, wasn't it? Because
Yes.
he joined with Del Rio.
Yeah, that was around the same time.
Two random face turns. Okay, well, that's in the past. So,
But it's funny, like it dictates your opinion, like how stale the face turn was that you don't even remember how he turned face in the first place.
yeah, because it's so random. Yeah, maybe that's why I don't even pay attention to it anymore.
But I like your point. That I could tell his confidence in everything kind of picked up once that Big Show rivalry happened when they put the belt on him in the first place, because he was still doing heelish things because you had to against the Big Show. It's the fucking Big Show, you got to kill him basically to beat
Right.
him, But the way he was coming off against the crowd, I think that's when the momentum started. But I think the whole Ziggler thing kind of eclipsed a lot of things in as far as a lot of characters and a lot of storylines went, because that kind of hamstrung a lot. Like everyone was already focused on when is Ziggler catching this? When is he doing this? When is he doing this? And then even after Ziggler Del Rio couldn't get the rematch because Ziggler had the concussion. So that's all that time that's wasted and all that momentum that could have been built up, where Del Rio's face turn could have really been something, like the potential of what could have been.
Yeah.
And it turns out that it just ran out of gas before Ziggler came back. So the only thing left to do was
Turn back heel.
Turn him back heel.
Which, The only thing that I regret, and the only thing that I don't like about Del Rio turning heel, is that means Ricardo's heel now. And I think Ricardo is one of those natural born faces. Like, I mean, he can be a heel, but he's so much better as a face, I think.
I think he's just gonna be a tweener. He's gonna be a heel, but people are still gonna, this guy, they're gonna laugh at him.
The last couple of weeks, even though Del Rio's the heel, when Ricardo comes out, they still chant the name with him.
You know what? The first week he came out as, Ricardo did not do the intro, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. Because without the intro, they're not gonna get the face chants.
Yeah.
The people sing along with them and everything. And then next week, they're back to doing the intro
Well,
again.
he had to come make fun of the rednecks and Charleston or wherever he came out of, heel, and all that stuff. So that's why he came out. But I was in the same boat. Like, don't give them the chance to sing along.
Exactly. Don't give them that satisfaction of doing that.
Especially he was doing it in English, right?
Was he?
He was starting to do it in English, and that way, the Americans could understand what he's saying. But if he starts doing it again in Spanish, then he'll probably start getting more heat from, the white folk.
Yeah, especially down there where they were taking him.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we haven't even mentioned it yet. That crowd, holy dog shit. As you guys made the I'm flattered by the comparison about how me and Ring of Honor comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
That was the crowd and Raw last night. Whatever 100% good Orton and Bryan was just amplified by the crowd.
Yeah,
like,
that crowd was pretty good last
night. They were into everything. Vicky couldn't even talk.
Oh, that was awesome.
We don't even have this on our cliff notes, but they were announcing the cover for the game, which The Rock's on the cover, so it's only going to work 5 times a year. But she couldn't say a word. They booed her. The more she talked, the more she said, "Excuse me," the louder they booed, to the point where she just stopped trying and just tried to talk so they can get through the segment, because they would have been out there for a half hour.
That happened a year or two ago.
In Austin.
Was that where it was?
In Austin.
They literally had to stop the promo. They could not do it.
I think it was in the Austin place, because they have it at the Frank Irwin Center, which is a University of Texas place. They have bleachers there, like the metal steps, if I'm not mistaken, to where they were banging so much that you could see the camera shake while Vicky's getting booed during the promo.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But I remember that made me flashback to that last time that happened. She got booed so bad.
That was the night where Cena teamed up with Evan Bourne in a main event tag match, and Evan Bourne was like made that night. For that night, Evan Bourne was like literally up there. Like, we're not even talking drugs. He was literally up there.
He was literally high.
He was literally high.
Yeah.
That crowd last night just made it.
Yeah, ever since the Raw after WrestleMania, it's really been
competition.
Yeah, and it's kind of made me, and I don't know if it's the rest of the IWC also, kind of take note and really, well, not so much that, but also kind of, I don't want to say judgment, that's too hard a word, but notice how good or not good a crowd is. And I think that crowd, has been one of the better ones. There's been another one in there that I can't remember where it was, but it was also pretty darn good. And it was like 3 weeks after WrestleMania or something like that. Was that the
episode where they went overseas to London and it was Undertaker in that 6-man tag?
It was the one after the one that they came back from overseas. Cause I felt like the one in London, when they had Raw in London, like they were trying too hard. And then they came back and, I think it was San Diego, and they were pretty good,
There was, I know show you're talking about. I can't remember which city it was in, but yeah, it was just a shit crowd.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There was one spot, as far as the crowd goes, where I was kind of disappointed. I think it was whenever they were announcing the participants of the Money in the Bank, and the crowd just sounded like they could not give a shit.
No, the part that pissed me off the most was during the Khali Ryback match, because I guess they weren't expecting what they got in that match, and I can hear like little spurts here and there of people chanting "boring, boring."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That, for me as a wrestling fan and as a person, kind of, it really pisses me off. Mm-hmm. If you don't like it, you can go take a shit, you can go get some food, you can go wait in line 40 minutes to buy a shirt. Yeah. You can do that. Yeah. You're going to chant boring, you're ruining it for everybody else. If I don't think it's boring, I'm enjoying the show. You little virgins down there need to shut the fuck up. I'm watching this. And I know for wrestlers, it probably pisses them off,
Yeah.
Because they're sitting there trying to.
They're doing their job.
They're doing their job. They're doing their show. You know, it's not like if I go to a comedy club and I tell the guy that's not, if I don't think the guy's funny, it's like, you suck! You know? You don't do that. You just sit there and you just try to like what you like.
Hecklers do that.
You know, hecklers do that. And
So
what happens to hecklers? They're made examples of. Literally.
That is true. You know, comedians, they target them and they go after them.
I'd love to see the Shield walk down the ramp and somebody says, you suck, and then Roman Reigns just beats
they'd be
the fuck out of
correcting
him.
injustice.
Oh,
they'll be
God.
there you go. You know, that reminds me that the angle years ago with Steve Austin. He'd come out and Lance Storm was in the ring. And he'd get on the mic at the entrance ramp during Lance Storm match. He'd be like, boring. I was like, man, that's gotta be harsh, man.
There's one thing when it's storyline based, but, you know, cause it's that, but when the
But it could be a thing like, what?
Yeah.
You know, where it just catches on like herpes and doesn't go away.
No.
Oh, speaking real quick about the crowd, there was a segment on...
Thank God, I thought you were going to say, speaking real quick about herpes.
Let's talk about AJ and Caitlyn. What?
we'll get to them in a second.
Okay.
But
what were you going to say?
But the crowd, there was a segment on WWE.com where it says, check out the crowds from the sign on Raw. And they show all these different, crowds, the signs.
The crowd signs?
Did you catch the one guy that was flashing his shirt?
I saw that guy.
There was one the crowd shot, and they were like kind of zooming in on the crowd, and I think the camera was trying to get one sign, but they were next to it. It says Cena's got clap. Cena's got the clap.
Cena's got the clap.
And the camera went what?
I wondered why they moved that, but I did catch that where the camera was. It was like a hard shot, and then the cameraman went, "What the fuck?" Like turned it.
Yeah, like zipped away real quick. Yeah,
Cena's got the clap.
Cena's got the clap.
That got confiscated.
A whole lot more entertaining than last week when Caden had the nip slip and they went black for like 4 seconds. So like,
after the fact.
I know, like, what did it go black for? Like, I don't get it. Yeah. What happened last night was a lot more entertaining, just because you could look around and see what the hell happened.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now let's talk about AJ and Caitlyn.
Hey, between herpes and nipples, now we're getting to My Little Caitlyn.
Yeah.
That's what happens to her.
Oh.
So Caitlyn had a not that great match with Oksana. It just kind of, it was whatever. It went by too quick, whatever.
It's Oksana. You can't expect too much.
Yeah. I know. So I was like, okay, well, something else has got to happen here. And something else did happen where AJ came out dressed up as Caitlyn, mocking her and everything, and just cut a promo and had Big E come out and reenact the whole scene. And you know what? I thought that was pretty darn funny. It somewhat, and don't take this too out of proportion, but it somewhat reminded me of when, like, DX would mock their opponents.
Wow, you're giving that a lot of credit. Oh, jeez.
Well, I know. I'm saying it reminded me of that, but, not to... Don't take it too far when I say that. But that is what it was reminding me of, that type of thing when... DX would come out and mock the nation or whoever.
Well, AJ and Big E, they're fine. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I know you don't hear this because Caitlyn's a hometown girl and everything, but damn, her acting sucks. What?
I'm almost there with you.
Okay.
Caitlyn fake crying.
Yeah.
I don't buy that for a second.
Yeah.
Caitlyn angry. She-Hulk Caitlyn that has to be held back by what's her face, Layla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot better.
Yes.
But I do agree with Travis that there's a lot of times where Caitlyn, I just can't buy into it.
Like when she gets like mad at something that AJ says and she starts off flipping out and everything. The way I don't know. I like it when she's more like that, more hulking out. I guess I don't know, but I'd rather have that than her crying and being all emotional and shit because she can't do it. Or nothing.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's good to have a more I would say more than decent storyline in the Divas division again.
Yes.
That's been lacking a lot.
Yes.
I'm actually looking forward to the Divas match. The first match was actually better. You guys reviewed it.
Yeah.
It was better than you thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
It was better than some of the other matches that were on the card.
And the good thing is they're doing. I love it when any wrestling company can do this. ECW is perfect at it, where they will take a storyline, a feud between two people, and it gets so intense that they start bringing in other people that get the rub off that feud. Oksana,
Yes.
Oksana is a perfect example. She sucks in the ring, but hey, people are talking about her.
Yeah, and the whole reason why she even had the match with her was because she started talking crap to Caitlyn about all the stuff with AJ. So, it's directly tied to that storyline.
Layla's her friend, so maybe she'll come in and she'll fight AJ, or maybe Oksana, or whatever.
Which I'm still pissed off that it's not Natalya and they switched it to Layla. I'm still like, why even do that? You know,
Natalia probably because she's already got her mini. I don't even know if it's a storyline, but the fact that she's with Kali and Hornswoggle, she's already tied up.
yeah.
Well, I see what Abel's going with this because she was part of that whole.
She was part of the storyline for a month, and over the last 2 weeks, they said, you know what, this isn't working, let's just switch it to Layla. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think they could have stuck with it with the best friend being Natty. Yeah. I think so.
Well, I think that, was it SmackDown? It was Natalia versus AJ.
Okay.
Y'all watch SmackDown?
Yeah, I somewhat remember that.
So back to the Raw discussion.
Alright, so that's that. Hooray, they're doing something and it's halfway decent. Now, I mean, there's room for improvement, but let's give
There's
them
a lot of potential there.
Yeah, there's potential. Let's give them an E for effort. Yay.
Yeah.
Alright. Now, I remember that we were talking about this, kind of around the time when we started the podcast, that, Triple H was really trying to kick off the Divas division and the tag division. And I think so far in the Divas division, we've seen more activity than we've seen in the tag. But recently, I think that's changed a little bit. Mm-hmm. We now have new number one contenders in the Usos. And they're going to be challenging the Shield members for their tag team title. And that looks like that this might be the beginning of an actual feud.
Maybe. We haven't actually seen them go against the Shield or have any interactions other than I think they've done a 6-man tag on main event a couple of times. Maybe.
Yes.
But yeah, not like a feud, just a match here and there. But, comes to show, I guess maybe WWE is listening to our podcast because a few weeks ago when we said, hey, Usos... You said, Usos, they need some kind of, makeover or change, whatever. Mm-hmm. Then, next week,
put the face paint
they got
on
the face paint on them. Now they're winning matches. They got the, now they're number one contenders.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And, I mean, maybe this is just being a little bit too markish here.
Probably is coming from you, yeah.
Yeah, coming from me. But I think it's kind of cool that, the Usos are starting to, kind of climb the ranks, considering that, they trained down here and wrestled at that time Booker T's PWA, and they were really over. They were the most over tag team down here for the whole time that they were down here, and that says a lot because the PWA tag team division at the time was pretty darn good. But now they've made it up to the WWE and now they are fighting for the tag titles. I think that's really cool. And I think that speaks to, people should probably support some of their indie wrestling stuff because you never know when that one indie guy that you really liked that used to wrestle down at your convention center or whatever will make it up to the big leagues and do something in the big leagues,
We can say we were there when the Usos started.
Yeah, I actually was there.
Yeah.
One of the first,
You were?
It was Rikishi actually came out that first night that they debuted.
Yeah,
After the match was over, he walked out on the ramp and got in the ring and waved with everybody, did the pose or whatever with everybody.
Yeah. That was a cool show. Yeah.
Memories.
Memories.
I just think it's a long time coming, but I don't think they have anyone to blame but themselves. I think they've been wanting to push the Usos for a while. I forget. It's hard to tell them apart which one has the paint on which side, but one of them had DWIs at least twice.
Yeah.
So
I believe that was Jimmy.
Every time that they're looking to push that team, to put them higher up in the ranks, to put them up in the division, one of them has to fuck it up.
Yep.
And then they have to wait and start all that momentum over again.
Well, wasn't that Vince McMahon's his issue with tag teams the whole time? Like even during the Attitude Era, he didn't like having to change plans or have to rely on two guys to always be there. Yeah. I think that was one of the reasons they stopped pushing tag teams in the first place.
It's harder to rely on two guys than on one.
Yeah, and then you got to split them up, and then you got to worry about what to do with two different singles guys, and it's less headache, I guess, for them. But everybody loves tag teams. Who doesn't love a good tag team division? So
I know you love tag teaming.
Yeah. It's just.
That's why Chris is here today.
Yeah. It's just a different scene now. Like back in the day, tag team was one of the cornerstones.
It was a staple.
It was a staple of
Watch
wrestling.
the first two Survivor Series.
But now everybody walks in. Oh, I want to be the champion. I want to be I want to be a singles champion. No one's looking to be like, oh, hey, my dream is to be a tag team champion with my best friend. Like that's not around anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless it's family. like the Usos, or if it's people that just get together that have a lot of good chemistry where they would better work together as a group than try to sync alone.
Yeah.
But the atmosphere now that everybody just wants to be the champ, the top guy, the single star, because all the focus, all the money, everything is on that spectrum of wrestling, that they don't look to be, let me just start off as a tag team and try to work on it.
I think that mentality kind of went away as soon as the Hardys and Edge and Christian, started being single superstars, because the Hardys, they were family. Edge and Christian, best friends. And I think both of them had that mentality, like, we're going to break into the business together. We're going to be together, the biggest tag team, whatever. And they really try to work for it. So I think after that, I don't think anybody else has really come along that have been either family, like you said, or best friends. Like, we are going to be the premier tag team in all of wrestling. And that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
We got Usos, Briscoes. Who else we got?
There's good prospects though, like you said, Usos, the Briscoes,
we got
Wyatt family.
Oh yes,
that's a good segment there. Yeah, segue.
Yeah, let's talk about the Wyatt family. They had 3 of those damn vignettes
once
last
an
night.
hour, I think. Yes.
That's a lot of vignettes for something there.
And it's not really new, are they? They're recapping.
It's the same footage. It might be cropped in different positions,
yeah.
or they add splice in a new.
Well,
shot
one
here
promo
or there.
says "I'm coming" like twice, or "We're coming," whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They need to go and pull the trigger on this.
They need to come. Like, you're coming. All right, get here. we want to watch. Like, you got us. We've been watching the same promos for the past almost month at least.
Yeah.
We're ready.
I said it before the last pay-per-view. I said I could see them debuting at the pay-per-view.
And it didn't happen.
So, do you think we're going to hold off another 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Or do you think they'll show up like maybe the week before?
I don't know. I don't think that they're going to show up at Money in the Bank, because that's when RVD is supposed to do his big...
That's right. Exactly. They're going to have more people buying it because of RVD. They're going to have IWC crowds... buying it because of RVD. IWC loves the Wyatt family, so...
Okay.
Not to mention where it's going to be. In case you guys haven't noticed, the Money in the Bank pay-per-view is going to be in Philly. Hardcore ECW, IWC, Marky Mark, and the Funky Bunch crowd.
Yeah.
If there's a place, like we mentioned the crowd last night, if there's a place to get somebody over in front of that audience, it would be there.
Mm-hmm. Or if there's an audience to piss off, it's there.
To piss off, yeah.
Yeah, you got to really mind your P's and Q's up there, man.
Do you think, real quick, just because you mentioned it, the Philly crowd, do you think there's any, ECW, fans that still go to the WWE shows?
Oh, God, yeah. There's still smatterings of ECW chants there almost every show.
Yeah. I don't know.
And and ECW stuff in the WWE has happened there in Philly. That was when the weekend before RVD got caught with the drugs, and then that in front of that Philly crowd was when RVD dropped the ECW title to the Big Show. And that you saw, I don't know if you guys remembered how that crowd reacted.
Yeah.
They threw almost everything they could at the Big Show that night.
But that was closer to that time frame, and that was ECW, the show. They were trying to recapture all that shit.
But if Paul Heyman's going to be there at that show with CM Punk and RVD,
that's a good point.
They're going to come out in full force.
Yeah.
Well, here's what they're not going to come out in full force for: a John Cena match.
For Mark Henry.
Well, yeah, maybe for Mark Henry.
That kind of crowd, they're gonna be cheering Mark Henry.
Yeah, so let's talk about this a little bit. Henry and Cena. After Henry pulled the big, I don't know what you would call it, switcheroo, ruse, whatever you want to call it, from last week. I was expecting a little bit more this week, and really all that happened is Cena cut a promo. That was a generic Cena promo, and Henry came out and cut a promo. That was pretty good. It was a pretty good Henry promo. But that was it. There wasn't anything else that really developed in that storyline, I think.
It's hard because the way the episode happened last week, it's going to be almost impossible to top that.
That is true.
Unless Henry goes into this pay-per-view and wins the title, first match in, the next night on Raw, might be that level. But no one saw what happened last week coming. So the fact when we opened this podcast, you said that this show wasn't as good as last week's show. That's because last week's show raised it to a level that I don't think it's going to get to for a while.
Yeah.
The way I saw it in my head when it happened, CM Punk pipe bomb, Mark Henry retirement / backstab. That's the level that was.
Okay.
And it's going to be a while before we get anything that gets close to that. With that said, Henry's promo, another really good promo.
Mm-hmm.
Cena promo, in hindsight, it was actually good. I'm not a huge fan of the bipolar Cena. He has the moments where he comes out and he's like Kermit the Frog he's the Muppet. He recaps the whole show. He makes jokes that half the time aren't funny.
Yeah.
In front of crowds that half the time are booing him.
Yeah.
And then there's the Cena where he's been there for 10 years. He's been the champion this many times. He's admitting he's the shit. Yeah. And you need to stink a lot of shit to come up to my level. When he gets like that, when he gets confident and he's actually taking the challenge instead of him being pictured as the underdog, like for the past 10 years, he's been pictured as the underdog, even though he's been through all of what he's been through. Mm-hmm. That Cena I can tolerate better than the stand-up comic failure Cena that tries to appease the kids, Mm-hmm. In that sense, I don't think they dropped the ball because, again, last week's episode set the bar really high, but I don't think they lost any momentum at all. I think they've kept all that momentum. And as long as they can keep it close enough to where it is now, regardless of how the match ends up at Money in the Bank, it's going to be a good match.
I don't think I agree. I don't think they lost any momentum. I just think the Mark Henry promo was redundant. Like, he didn't do anything new. Like, Cena's promo, that's good to further the feud. I think what should have probably happened was, as soon as the champion's here, whatever, he's done with that, Mark Henry's music hits, and he just goes up to the ramp and just like starts smiling at him, whatever, holds up a boot, and then
that would have been funny.
And then maybe walks back to the ring, and that's it.
Oh yeah. You know what? That might even be able to be pulled off next week. Cena comes out, starts cutting the promo, and then Mark Henry comes out and just kind of shoves it in his face. Not like being mean, I'm going to kick your ass, but like, I fooled you. Remember that I fooled you, and I got your number. Like, that type of thing,
You know what I'd like to see?
Drop the boot on the ramp. Even better. Like Cena's posing, he turns around and sees Big Black Henry there, and Henry just drops the boot and just points at him. Like, he points at Cena, points at the boot, then turns around and laughs and just rolls the hell out.
You know what I'd like to see?
That'd be great.
Like a pissed off Cena. Like, and I don't mean like the intensity Cena, like because I'm like, have a heel, like, just, get under his skin, to where he just like gets pissed off to where he, like, say Mark Henry, Mark Henry got the better of him that first round. He turned on him, slammed him, whatever. What if that, like, pissed off Cena so much he doesn't want to talk? Like, Mark Henry comes out, does a promo, or maybe just a match or whatever, and then Cena's music hits, Cena runs out and starts attacking him.
The problem with that is, history dictates that Cena as a champion can't pull that off. Cena as a contender chasing for a champion can pull that off. I'm not sure if
but I can't remember any time, I'm not really thinking that hard about it, I can't really think any time off the top of my head that Cena's like gotten so mad at a heel, whether he's the challenger or the champion, that he just, like, he has to like run out and just,
like, he just lets loose and
gets
pissed
exactly
off.
yeah. Like, what I'm saying, just run in and just beats the shit out of somebody.
That's been a long time. It'd be hard pressed for me to figure it out. Post face turn, he did that a lot as a heel.
Oh yeah, because
even when he was chasing, but there was still a different intent. But as a face, that's a good one. I'll have to think about that one.
That's one thing we haven't seen from face Cena. For a heel to get under his skin so bad, he's just like,
to do heelish kind of
exactly,
things.
Yeah. And maybe that's something that they could do to appease people who want to see a heel Cena without actually turning him heel.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea if they could get that intensity out of Cena. Because Cena can get intense.
But he gets intense on the mic.
Exactly.
That's all he does.
Yeah. He doesn't like, he'll get intense on the mic and be like, come the pay-per-view, I'm going to whoop your ass. And it's like, Cena said ass. And then the pay-per-view comes, and then the match starts.
Oh yeah,
and
it's whoop-ass season. Did you see the calendar? It's whoop-ass season. Cena said so.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
But it's the same Cena match.
But yeah, it's the same Cena match where, like, he starts off, and then the match starts off slow, they circle each other, and then Cena gets his ass whooped for 5 minutes, and then Super Cena at the end, and that's it. Like, I'd like to see a match where Cena just, like, is pissed off, jumps somebody, like, right at or right before the bell, and they're just going at it back and forth nonstop.
And maybe you do that, get pissed off while he's a champ, and his, not even thinking, his blind rage, whatever, that just cost him the title. You know?
Oh yeah, that'd be funny.
You know, that'd be his own undoing. You know.
I think the thing that the reason that I'm thinking in the back of my head is because he's the top guy. He's the franchise guy. Because we saw Ziggler do it on Raw.
That's kind of what I'm thinking
done
of.
it before,
Yeah.
but it's Ziggler. You know, we like Ziggler, but how high is he in the card compared to Cena?
Right.
Compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
It would fly if it was any other face, champion or contender, doing that kind of stuff. But since Cena's the poster boy of the franchise, I don't think they can risk doing that.
That's why we never saw Hogan do that.
Because any little thing might set somebody off, set somebody's perception off to the point where it might change their opinion on it.
Yeah.
So for
Look
Cena,
at his
they
opinion
can't
on.
go
I mean, look at people's opinion on him already.
That's true. I
See,
mean,
but here's the thing: the whole Cena turn, the people that want to see heel Cena turn, what are we gonna get? We're gonna get the same reaction. The kids are gonna be booing. But then all the geeks that wanted him to turn heel are going to be the ones cheering. Cena's literally going to get the same reaction.
And they won't be selling shirts.
yeah. Either way, it'll be a 180.
Yeah.
You know, there'll still be half the crowd booing him, half the crowd cheering.
Don't get me wrong. I wasn't advocating him turning heel. I was just saying that'd be a
While
one way
a
of getting
face.
that. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, you could do that with lower tier guys and get away with it. That's maybe what I was thinking of. You know, it's like something.
Nothing wrong with testing the waters though, because if a face can get that kind of reaction like Ziggler did on Monday, imagine what kind of reaction it would get if Cena were to do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I would like to see who that heel is that would get underneath Cena's skin so much. Because if you are that heel that's getting underneath Cena's skin, you're probably a damn good heel.
I'm gonna go way into the future.
Okay.
With this comment, I don't think it's gonna be a heel.
All right.
I'm still I still stand firm that the one match we need to get before the time runs out is Cena Taker at WrestleMania. And the way for Cena to prove that he's not scared of Taker is on an episode of Raw to do what every other person's done, what Shawn Michaels has done, like super kick him when he's at the ramp after a match, or what CM Punk has done with the Ashes. That would, if there's one time, since Cena's the guy, if you want to do it one time with one person, I don't think they would waste it on Henry. I think they would pull it with Taker. It wouldn't even be
They did that with
a heel doing that.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels did that. I mean, they turned him heel for that feud.
Yeah, and technically, I don't even know if he was a heel for that feud because he had his reasons and he still had his fan base.
That is true. Yeah,
as opposed to Taker's fan base.
He was kind of doing heelish things, but
it was kind of a tweener in the middle.
Yeah,
you know, he could justify it because it's HBK. Like even when HBK had his feud with Hogan, he was technically still a face. He was still getting cheered. It was just at the time with Hogan, he would still get his reaction and Hogan would get his reaction.
Right.
But I think if we ever saw the day that Cena would do that kind of thing, it would have to be against someone really up there.
Really high profile.
Really high profile and a high profile time. And the only fathomable way I can see that is with Taker at a WrestleMania.
Now, I think that's a good idea, and if that happens, that'd be great. And you heard it here first. But I don't think it will, and here's why. Yeah. They had the opportunity to do that with The Rock, with Cena and The Rock. But Cena never got to that point. I mean, you want to talk about high profile. I mean, the only person that's going to be as high profile as Taker would be The Rock at that point in time.
If not more so. Really.
Yeah, and that storyline was just horrible.
It's The Rock. It's 4 times a year. It's Taker. It's the streak. It's WrestleMania.
One time a year.
One time a year. You know? And I think there were a couple of moments, I think when Cena and The Rock were doing the tag team with The Miz and R-Truth, where there was a point where during their promos, where they had this one promo where the 4 of them were in the ring, and when they were bashing their opponents at the same time hitting each other with shots, to the point where I think Cena was the one that crossed the line first and actually went after The Rock. But I don't know if you guys want to count that, or if you guys take it to that level, or if you want to just see it.
Well, I do remember them trying to one up each other there in that tag match. I can't remember who they were fighting, but yeah, you're right, that did happen. But that was kind of like a slow burn. Yeah. Like I think what we're talking about here is just Cena letting loose and kind of doing what D-Bry's been doing, and just getting pissed off. And I'm gonna show you what I'm made of in the ring, and just go out there and rah and just kill everything. You know? Yeah. You like my sound effect there?
Very good, Abel, yes.
I was trying to, transmit over the medium of audio.
You failed miserably. Okay. So,
all right. That's all we have, actually, for all our WWE talk that I have notes here that are written down.
Any predictions for next week's Raw?
I don't know. Maybe maybe something will happen with Cena. I don't know.
I'm not thinking that far ahead.
Yeah. Well, we'll do predictions for pay-per-views, but not for a Raw. Whatever.
Sorry for bringing it up.
Oh, well then. Do you have predictions for next week's Raw?
Not really.
Okay, well then, shut the hell up.
Alrighty, folks, we're going to take a break at this point before we get into the rest of the show. Be sure to check out part 2 of the podcast, available now.